In the opening scene, we are narrated that during the Hyborian Age, a group of sorcerers from the Dark Empire of Acheron created a mask from the skulls of dead kings. Through a dark ritual, they sacrificed their pure-blooded daughters to bestow the mask with the power to dominate the entire world. With that newfound power, Acheron embarked on their mission, taking down the other kingdoms one after another. At one point, they launched their attack on the only remaining tribe, the barbarians from Cimmeria. After a very violent and bloody battle, the barbarians defeated the sorcerers and destroyed the mystical mask. In the aftermath, the pieces of the mask were scattered across the widespread kingdoms and hidden to prevent any man from ever wielding such power again. However, a prophecy foretells that someone would try to put all the pieces together again. The scene then fast forwards to several years later, showing an ongoing war between the Cimmerians and their rival clan. In the middle of the battle, the barbarian chieftain Corin's pregnant wife is fatally injured. In her final breath, she asks Corin to cut open her stomach so that she can see their baby before she dies. That's metal. Corin fulfills her final wish, and she names the baby Conan before succumbing to her injuries. Years pass by, and Conan grows up to become a fierce teenager. Despite his early age, he is so eager for battle that he competes with adult men in the tribe. One morning, all the teens from the tribe take a test to prove themselves as potential warriors. Corin also allows his son to participate in this test. Following this, they all get ready for a race in which they will have to make a round of the forest. As soon as it begins, the boys start pushing each other to cut off the competition, not caring if anyone falls and gets hurt. Shortly after, they're ambushed by a bunch of warriors from a rival clan. Upon witnessing this, all the participating teens retreat back to their place, but Conan makes a brave decision to confront them and prove himself as a warrior. Come at me! As he steps forward, the rival gang surrounds him and intends to kill him. However, Conan fights back and snatches their weapon to take down all the enemies one after another. After eliminating everyone, he returns home with severed heads. Reap them off myself. Leaving the tribe people in shock. Seeing the readiness of his son, Corin takes the boy to his foundry and teaches him how to make a sword, also revealing some secrets of steel. Furthermore, Corin begins training his son in swordsmanship, but Conan, being an impatient student, often lets his anger interfere with his lessons. As a result, Corin tells him that he's not ready to have such a sword yet. One day, the barbarian village is attacked by armored warriors led by Kalar Zim. He is a warlord seeking to reunite the Mask of Acheron so that he can revive his dead wife Maliva, an evil sorceress, and conquer Hyboria. Seeing them intruding, the barbarians hastily mount their horses to charge at the enemy. In a few moments, the village becomes a heated battleground. Despite the barbarians' best efforts, they are eventually defeated by an overwhelming number and the cunning tactics of their foes. Corin is brought in front of Kalar, who demands the piece of mask that he has hidden. Here, it's revealed that Kalar has already gathered all the other shards, and he's looking for its final piece. When Corin refuses to disclose any information, he is restrained and tortured. Conan, who sees this from his window, jumps in and attacks a warrior named Lucius, cutting his nose off. Corin uses this opportunity to fight back, but both the father and the son are subdued. Kalar's daughter, Marique, then uses her special evil power to locate the hidden shard. Now that he has what he wants, Kalar chains the father and son to a cauldron of molten metal hanging right above them. Marique steals Corin's sword, and the village is set ablaze before the assailants depart. Conan puts all of his efforts into saving his father, but Corin, knowing that he can't make it, sacrifices himself to enable his son to escape. An orphaned and grief-stricken Conan then grabs a sword from a pile of bodies and vows for revenge. Following this, the scene fast forwards to 20 years later. Conan, who is now a mercenary, is working with a Zamoran pirate named Artus. One day, the two arrive in the city of Messentia, where they raid a slave camp and release the hostage. They then take the hostage to a beach for a celebration full of music, women, and alcohol. Amidst the feast, a group of soldiers shows up, and Conan recognizes their leader as Lucius, who is after a pickpocket, Elashan. In a clever move to track down his father's killers, Conan deliberately picks up a fight and allows himself to be captured alongside Elah Shan. Following this, the two are taken to a dirty cell where prisoners are subjected to labor. After waiting for the right moment, Conan single-handedly attacks all the guards and makes his way to Lucius. He then tortures him until he finally agrees to talk. Lucius reveals that Kalar, who has now become a powerful shadow lord, is looking for pure-blood descendants of sorcerers of Acheron in order to awaken the mask's true power. He further discloses that the last descendant of that line is currently in Shaipur. Upon retrieving the information that he needs, Conan leaves him at the mercy of the prisoners, announcing that they're free now. In the meantime, Kalar and his daughter lead their army to Shaipur Monastery, where a pureblood descendant, Tamara, lives. They soon lay siege to the town, inducing panic among the residents. Amidst the chaos, an elderly monk named Fasir, who knows the prophecy, urges Tamara to escape in a carriage guarded by some soldiers. Upon taking down all of the town guards, Kalar confronts Fasir and demands for the pure blood. However, the monk refuses to divulge anything, which enrages Kalar. As a result, he smashes his head against the marble floor, resulting in his death. Marik then tests the blood of the monastery girls and realizes that the pure blood isn't among them. Simultaneously, in the nearby forest, Conan spots the carriage and launches his attack. Mistaking them for Kalar's men, he swiftly jumps onto the carriage's roof and breaks it apart, only to find Tamara. Surprised, he asks about her identity, also demanding Kalar's whereabouts. But before they can talk further, they're caught up to by Kalar's men, led by Remo. Following this, Conan engages in combat with the enemy soldiers, while Tamara makes her way out of the running carriage and gets on a horse. When the assailant comes closer, she disconnects the carriage and crashes it into them. Despite this, she is soon caught by Remo, who attacks her horse and makes her fall to the ground. But before he can take her away, Conan intervenes and starts fighting Remo, as well as the other approaching soldiers. After eliminating all of them, Conan discloses his real identity, leaving everyone in shock. Remo tries to escape, but Conan knocks him down. As night falls, he ties both Remo and Tamara to prevent their escape. The latter questions why he saved her if his intention is to capture her. In response, Conan explains that he aims to use her as bait to lure Kalar. The following morning, Remo wakes up and explains Tamara's value to Conan. He also offers to lead him to Kalar, promising a hefty reward of gold. Conan agrees and ties him to his horse, making him guide him to Kalar. After a while of traveling, they arrive at his camp, where they find a bunch of abandoned catapults. Conan ties Remo to one of them and covers his mouth with a message before releasing the catapult. The villain lands straight into Kalar's giant vehicle, causing him to die. Marik checks the body and finds the message, where Conan has asked Kalar to meet him at the Shaipur outpost alone. She also uses her evil power to figure out that Tamara is with him. In the next scene, Kalar and his daughter arrive at the outpost, where Conan seems to have set up a trap. Tamara pretends to be tied up to a post, but she actually has a knife in her hand. Kalar offers him some money in exchange for Tamara, but Conan demands a different price: his head. Hearing this, Marik uses her magic to create soldiers out of sand and deploys them to fight against Conan. It's hard for him to fight these sandmen because they keep on dodging his blows by fusing with the sand. Despite this, he uses his tactics to overpower the assailants one after another. In the interim, one of the sandmen goes to capture Tamara, but she cleverly attacks him with her knife and starts running away. Having vanquished all the sandmen, Conan comes face to face with Kalar, challenging him to a sword duel. For the first few moments, he gives him a tough fight, making it hard for Kalar to defend himself. Seeing this, Marik poisons Conan with a boomerang sword that weakens him right away. This allows Kalar to easily strike him with numerous powerful blows and gain an upper hand. But before he can deliver a final blow, Tamara drags Conan away and throws a torch at some spilled oil, causing a huge explosion. The duo uses this opportunity to jump into the sea, where they're rescued by Artis and his crew. In the aftermath, Conan talks to Artis, sharing his plan to attack Kalar again. He also tells Artis to protect Tamara because she saved his life and she now has his loyalty. Later that evening, the ship is attacked by Kalar's men, who try to abduct Tamara. However, she lets out a loud scream that alerts everyone. A full-on pirate battle ensues between the two parties. Conan channels his inner rage, unleashing his rage upon the assailants, while Tamara also manages to stab a few enemies to death. Soon after, the joint effort leads them to victory, which makes them all overjoyed. After some hours of sailing, they reach the coast of Kalar's kingdom, and Conan sets forth on his vengeful mission. Knowing that the two like each other, Artis tells Tamara to meet him one last time to say her goodbyes. He assures her that she can return by tomorrow morning. Tamara then catches up with Conan, and the two spend some private time. Their conversation takes a romantic turn, and they end up making love in the nearby cave. In the morning, Tamara bids goodbye to the sleeping Conan and makes her way back to the ship. On her way, she's suddenly ambushed by Marique and her soldiers, who forcefully take her to Kalar's kingdom. By the time Conan comes looking for her, they're already gone. He now has another reason to confront Kalar. In the next scene, Conan travels to Elah Shan's town, seeking help in breaking into Kalar's fortress. Elah Shan is happy to return his favor and agrees immediately. Following this, he leads Conan to a secret old mine beneath the fortress. He unlocks the door using his special master key, and the two make their way in. Upon descending some stairs, they discover that the whole area is flooded and full of skeletons. All of a sudden, a huge tentacle grabs Elah Shan and drags him underwater. In a quick action, Conan swims down and stabs the tentacle before freeing his friend. Meanwhile, in the kingdom, Tamara is being prepared for the ritual that would awaken the mask and give Kalar the power to bring his wife back to life. Turns out he intends to use Tamara's body as a vessel to house the spirit of his dead wife. Marique dresses her with her mother's wedding attire and then ties her to a special contraption. On the other hand, Conan and Elah Shan swim out of the water and find themselves in a chamber full of caged slaves. This chamber is guarded by a formidable-looking man who is in charge of feeding a giant, multi-tentacled serpent living underwater. Spotting the intruders, the guard alerts others and awakens the massive creature to have them devoured. In a desperate bid to escape, Elah Shan enters a cage, but he accidentally locks himself inside. Simultaneously, Conan fights the guards while also evading the tentacles. He manages to throw the main guard into the water, causing him to be ripped apart by the creature. Conan then frees Elah Shan, and the duo continues on their journey. As they ascend the fortress, they see Tamara being taken to a skull cave where the ritual will be performed. Conan thanks his companion for the help and continues the rest of the journey on his own. He follows Tamara and sneaks into the cave, silently dispatching a few guards on his way. By this point, Kalar inflicts a wound on Tamara to get her blood onto the mask. Upon applying the blood, the mask springs to life, after which Kalar dons it. He then resumes the ritual, proceeding to summon his wife's soul. Just as the ritual nears completion, Conan launches a sudden attack on Kalar. Right then, the power of the mask causes the entire cave to crumble. The contraption holding Tamara plummets into the abyss, but fortunately, the sticks on the sides make it get stuck on the walls. Seeing this, Conan jumps into the contraption to save her, but Kalar also comes behind him. This leads to a sword fight between the two. While standing on the contraption, the commotion results in the contraption flipping over, causing the two fighters to cling onto its chains. Seizing this opportunity, Conan reaches Tamara and frees her from the restraints. She then runs away while the two men continue their duel. Meanwhile, Marique follows Tamara's scent and tracks her down, and a fight initiates between them as well. Tamara struggles against Marique's superior strength, fueled by evil powers. As a result, she screams for help, prompting Conan to rush towards her. Marique pins her down and is on the verge of delivering a final blow when our hero shows up. In a fit of rage, he cuts off her hand, and Tamara pushes her off to her death. The pair then run towards safety, but they are once again confronted by Kalar. A final battle ensues between the two of them. This time, Conan gains the upper hand and even reclaims his father's sword from the villain's grip. However, before he can land a fatal blow, they are interrupted by falling debris. Conan then takes Tamara and tries to escape the cave. As they make their way to a wooden bridge, she accidentally slips and falls through through a hole. Conan immediately grabs her by her chain and starts pulling her up. At the same time, Kalar catches up and approaches Conan, who has both of his hands occupied. He then resumes the ritual and begins summoning his dead wife. As a result of this, the spirit of the old witch possesses Tamara's body, and she begs Conan to let her go. However, the latter isn't ready to give up on her at any cost. When Kalar comes closer, Conan uses his sword to cut off a part of the bridge, causing the evil guy to fall to his death. This interrupts the ritual, returning Tamara back to her normal state. After this, Conan uses the last of his energy to pull her up, and the pair manages to escape the cave moments before it collapses. In the aftermath, Conan drops Tamara at her birthplace and departs, assuring her that they'll meet again. He then returns to his destroyed village to show his father's grave that he's finally become worthy of this sword.